to be Astrotrain headquarters.
Welcome back to the Tide-Dream Hair. This is Mike, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Zeta EX-10 Spacetron Metallic Edition. This is just a remake of the Toy World version. The Toy World version came out in two other versions. We're going to talk about that coming up. But this thing is a 5.5-year-old mold, getting reissued as their version of Astrotrain. It has its good points, its bad points. I don't think it's horrible, and I'm not going to bash it like other reviewers because it has some good points to it. We're going to talk about all of that coming up. I did get this from Show Z. It's available there for $75. So let's get right into this. Looking at the box, it couldn't be less of a box. It's just a brown box special, really cheaped out on the box, but you know what? If you save it in the price, that's fine with me. So looking at this guy, I got a couple things to say about it right out of the box. First of all, right out of the box, this red piece right here is not pushed down, it is folded up, and you have to fold it down to give it any sort of stability whatsoever. And so I didn't know that right out of the box. So I kind of thought it was the floppiest unstable thing. So that's actually a good point. I don't know if that's something that is an improvement, maybe, I don't know, but it offers a lot of stability to this figure, a lot more than I thought it had. Second of all, it feels cheap, really lightweight and cheap. But of course, I've been handling Fans Toys too. I got this one at Fans Toys around the same time, within a day or two, and this one feels very light compared to it. But still, it's an Astrotrain. Now, let's take a quick look at the accessories that come with this thing. Let's look at his standard head and his other head that comes with it. Now, I'm understanding with Toy World, at Toy World it had one head and then you just clipped the visor on or something like that. So that is something that's different. You're getting an entirely new head. I'm kind of a fan of getting an entire head swap, but I do think you have to unscrew it to swap it out. So it's a little bit more work to swap it out than I would like to do, but I'm not going to risk just popping off the ball peg and putting it back on. The next accessory is this gun, and it actually is painted really well. It looks like the whole thing's painted, but it might just be metallic fleck that's in the plastic. You do have this really nice looking shiny paint on the red, and you have a nice paint right there. But in contrast, Fans Toys is kind of boring, and I did kind of point that out in my Fans Toys quick look there. This looks so much better than the Fans Toys. You also get these pieces, they're hole fillers that we're going to use here in a little while. Showing you the gun, it doesn't have any way to tab into the hand actually, so you just kind of slide it in. It's held in by friction, it seems like. I haven't figured out a better way to hold it tighter, so if you bump them, they kind of lose their position. It kind of sucks as a gun, but if you just put it in a position, it'll hold, so I guess it's okay. Let's take a quick aesthetic look at this guy here. And first off, we already saw the head. The head sculpt is fine. And this chest piece here has quite a bit of paint on it. You could fold it up and tuck it in and you can have the look without the chest piece, without that wing. It's possible. I like the chest piece. It's just reminiscent to me. He does have a nice, really shiny paint right here, paint all over. There's a lot of paint apps to this guy. On the inside here, I think that's kind of a flecked plastic. I don't know if it's 100% painted. I mean, if it was 100% painted, it'd be scratching a little bit, and nothing's scratched on it so far. I do want to talk about the back. It is kind of kibbly, but the side is where it looked weird. These really big lower legs. Now that's, I guess, to make it a little bit easier for the transformation. A little bit less engineering has to go into it. So huge lower legs. Quick look at the articulation. You get the head left and right, up and down. You can go way up because of the transformation, down just a little bit, but as much as you would probably need with this character. This guy here, shoulders, you do have pretty much a 360. You can go out to a little above the 90, but you can, part of the transformation, you get a butterfly joint. So with a transformation butterfly joint, you can kind of do all of that stuff with it. That's kind of cool. No waist swivel or ab crunch. I mean, they weren't really doing that so much 5 years ago. You do have a thigh swivel. You can go all the way out on a friction joint, and you can go to a 90 to the front, and it does a 90 to the back, but the backpack sort of gets in the way. I think you could push these up a little bit, but I'm not going to mess with all that. Now, The knee ratchets are really tight, but you only get a 90, and it kind of looks weird the way it does that. And getting down to the foot does quite a bit because of the transformation, so you can get quite a bit out of that, quite a bit of range. Now for comparisons, the first thing I want to do is show what it's going to look like with Toy World and the two versions of Toy World. So side by side, you kind of got the two versions of Toy World right there. There he is. I think this one looks better than either of the Toy World versions, and that's all that. Next, I want to show the DX9 and the cartoon, and I think this one looks better than DX9. A lot of people like the DX9 a lot more during this whole era, and I had DX9. I didn't like it. I actually like this one more than the DX9. I couldn't wait to get rid of the DX9 version. So next up, I want to put them next to Megatron and Starscream. And let's get it centered a little bit more. And looking at this, these look good together, not great together. I'm going to show you here in a little bit how you can sort of cheat that, but aesthetically, he sort of hits it, not 100%, but it's okay if you're looking at, hey, I can't get another option, get this one, it'll work. So like a display cheat would be, you could kind of throw in a block there and prop him up or something. That's a cheat that I would like to use, and then you put a couple other characters in the mix, and all of a sudden it doesn't look quite so bad. Here he is next to the Fans Toys option. Now I already did this comparison in the Fans Toys video, but the Fans Toys one looks, in my opinion, worlds better. In fact, the more I handle both of these, the more I like the Fans Toys one. Now the Fans Toys one is not perfect. There's no perfect, but it's better. Now, is it 4 times better? I don't know, because this thing is just shooting up in price now, possibly hard to get. You can get that all day long for 75 bucks. So availability is on the side of this guy, but would I recommend him? I don't know. Maybe you should drop the 400 bucks to get the Fans Toys instead of the 75 to get this one, but it's all depending on you and your collection and what you want. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this guy transformed up into his shuttle mode. Now, first thing I want to do is collapse these pieces here. It's better to go to shuttle mode from robot mode than train mode from robot mode. So that's the way we're going to do it. Now, we're going to unpeg these pieces, pull that one back, and then you've got little pegs right here that need to get unpegged so that we can lift all this forward. Now, once you've got all this forward, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to remove these parts here, and which I think didn't get put in place at the factory very well. These side pieces, they're tabbed in. You need to untab them and move them out of the way. Basically, it's just going to go right here, and so we can do that right now. Untab them, and it just, everything with this, be gentle. It feels cheap. The plastic feels cheap. I think if you force anything too hard, I'm pretty sure it will indeed break. So I'm gonna be straight up honest with that. Now we've already, somehow this fell through. I mean, this piece here, you have to work it through these notches right there, and then you move the head back. And so it's in that little position right there, and that will work. Now you got to work with these arms, and we got to make them sort of flat like that. We open up this, and we open up this. Did I open it from the right way? There we go. We're going to turn the hand backwards and make sure it's fully in the mushroom peg. And then it's got to be aligned just right, so when you push it through, it lines up and goes all the way into there. So that's flush. Now you can close this piece. It's not all the way. There it is. This piece. And you can close this piece. And that will free it up to where it can now fold into the arm. But I guess let's fold it like this. It's got to fold into this little crevice, and everything tucks in nice and neat. Same thing on the other side, only I'm going to attempt to do it a little bit faster this second time. And come on, pop up. There it goes. We're going to flip this backwards, make sure the mushroom peg's aligned, everything is lined up. Push it in, flip around to make sure it's flat. Close this, align this like so, or maybe like so. Fold it in, and we've got that part done. Now we have to get this back piece in position. We also need to, I think the wings are already in the right spot for this. The wings are actually on a slider. When we get this just right, we need to slide the wings. There we go. There we go. And then we can move this piece further up. Get all this assembly pushed up. There's this red piece down here. If you just push up on it, it will get this whole assembly moved up, which was a little confusing, kind of the way it was going. But you will kind of push this back once this is up, and you need to get this in place. And getting these little pieces in place, this section, just kind of messing with it till it gets to this tab. Let's get this tab here, can go into this hole, and you got to get it to where it's solid. I don't know why this side just didn't want to tab in and that one did. And that's when you can kind of fold this piece over and get that tabbed into place right here, which is tight. These tabs go into those notches, and it's really, really tight. Now to sort of get the legs worked on here, what we're going to do is fold the feet up. 1, 2, 3 folds. And then your feet are going to maneuver around here. You do need to fold these red pieces back in that give the feet support, because obviously it's not going to support it now. Flip this nose cone around and kind of tighten that in. And we're going to do that on the other side also. Fold the toe and then that other piece and get all this folded in on itself. Fold this around like so. And then we're going to tab these in. Now, let's make sure I've got everything lined up just right. I think everything is in place, and it's just going to tab, and tab. Something feels a little off, but it looks pretty close. Then these pieces here, fold over. This tabs over, this one tabs, the arm piece tabs over, and then we have to lift this up and over. And something tells me that this piece should have folded over too. Somewhere along the way, this piece should have folded over to here. Put this tab up into here, and then this will tab into that, and it starts to look more like the shuttle mode. Down here we need to move these into place, fold that flat. That's just going to stay open. These pieces go down and around right here. It's not quite lining up right because you have to have this lower piece here in the down position. So we kind of had to untab this, get that in down position. But anyway, now we're getting it back into position the way it should be. Tab this guy back in the back. And let's do the other side real fast. So with all of this fun stuff here, and when the wing is in place, you slide it into the back, clips it into there, and this would clip it into here. And we do need to clean up the rest of these parts and pieces. This is going to fold over, and this is going to fold up and tab into here. And we're pretty close to done. We need to get out the landing gear, which is right here. And then close this back up. So a couple things about this. First of all, with these wings on the slider, once you get your wings in place, more or less, let's disconnect it. You do want to slide it into this tab, this notch here, So having this whole mechanism to the lower in this mode, and in the mechanism, if I can show where it is, there's a sliding mechanism right here. That folding mechanism needs to be lower for this mode and higher for the train mode. Also this fin, I guess I didn't have that in place. You just kind of push that back here and tab it into place. And it almost looks like you want to slide it in, but there you go. Slide it into place. And then you pull this piece here out to fill the gap. Some of this stuff doesn't really tab in. It just kind of folds there and stays there. And so there is a bit of, I don't want to call it a tolerance, but it's just, it doesn't tab in all the way. So it's not like click, you're done. So which makes it kind of hard. The landing gear on the bottom here, I didn't show pulling the rear two up, but with the landing gear, it rolls pretty well. It's rolling okay. It's not a bad looking alt mode. In fact, it's one of the better looking ones. And we're going to do a quick comparison of this one to Fans Toys. So I do think the Fans Toys one's a little bit cleaner overall, but this isn't bad. This really is not bad. This is not a bad looking mode. If you look them side by side, Fans Toys does have some stuff on the front. Like this front here is a lot cleaner than the Fans Toys one. But now looking at this thing, it's the purples and the grays and the different shades and the cockpit up there. It looks pretty good. In fact, this is the mode I'm going to keep it in. So we're going to go to train mode, and then I'm going to have to spend some time putting it back into this mode on the bottom. These things seem to be like just hanging out. We're going to use those in train mode, but here's the back. These engines are kind of on some sort of spring mechanism, which is kind of cool too. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. You got an Astrotrain. You can't quite fit a bunch of characters in it, so it's not going to reenact any movie. So scale-wise, here he is next to a Masterpiece Hot Rod, and it's pretty big. I mean, it's a pretty good size figure, and seeing as how, I guess if you get the official Masterpiece Hot Rod, it costs about the same, right? And then here he is next to a G1, a little baby G1, and which kind of is why they have some of the colors for the Toy World versions, and there's that one. So getting this into train mode, we're gonna have to start taking apart everything we've done already with putting it into this mode. So close up the landing gear. We're going to split this piece right here and move it around. Close up the landing gears there. And move this back into position. We need to untab these and fold them back down. Untab. Fold it back down, kind of get that out of the way. We're going to pull these pieces here up and get them sort of out of the way. We can actually fold these back for now out of the way. And we're going to split the legs again. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting with this whole setup. Open this up and we're going to flip this around and goes like that and hides it in there, and then we close it back up, and then we fold this out and up top like so, which is interesting. It's different. It's a different way to do it. Okay, so back over here, we're going to open up this. We're going to fold this around like so, and then lift this piece out, and we're going to put it up top here in place. Now we end up doing some crazy stuff here. Let's fold this to the front. We're going to fold, let's fold these back, fold this back, and then we flip them around and then kind of put them together. But then you end up folding the whole waist around. Let's get the wings. Get this piece here out of the way so we can make the waist flip around just right. Can we achieve that? Yes, we can achieve that. Now, that is sort of in its spot. This is way different than kind of how we do things, and we're getting it a whole lot different now. Something real quick, we're sort of where we're at now. And the orientation of the jet's like this. but the orientation of the train is the opposite side. Now we're going to flip this out. We're going to open these back up now that we've been able to flip this thing around, and we're going to close this. We're going to need to tab these legs together, and we're going to do that like so, and we start tabbing all of the stuff for this into itself, and this is actually the rear of it, so start doing all of that. How this goes together like this. I knew there was a trick to it that I just wasn't catching right away. There we go. And we're forming the rear end. Feels like as soon as it kind of pops out a little bit as you pop it in. Okay, we can move these pieces back into place. These really are for the train fillers. And we're going to need to slide out this wing piece, and then we're going to open this up. Now we need to get rid of the fin, so open those up, fold this piece in. Actually, we need to get the fin in there first. That's going to be a filler. Tuck that fin in there really good. It goes in there pretty tight. There's that, and we can put these pieces back to where they belong, and we've got these side pieces that we can fold out of the way. Now we do need to lift, kind of fold these pieces around. We'll untab this back collarbone to fold this around on both sides, and then we're going to tab the collarbone back in to here. Without getting too far off camera. Now this one is going to rotate around. So the way this rotates around is you have to slide this down, which will be this little bar there. Then you can flip it to rotate it around, and then it'll come back down on itself. Now, I did untab it from this because there's these little pieces here that are filler pieces that I wasn't aware of till I got to it, and then you got to put those filler pieces in place, and then you put the collarbone back in. I'm calling it the collarbone. Well, flip those. These wheels go down, but feels like this collarbone plugs in and unplugs in every transformation, so it's kind of smart how they did it. There we go, and there we go. I think I've done this twice, moving into this mode, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And then you do have this spring-loaded, so it's gonna be, I don't want to say you're forcing it, but you're going to give it some pressure to get it all in there. That's the best way I can explain it. You gotta line these tabs up with those holes. Holes right there, tab right there. There it is. There it is. Now, the reason these wings are on sliders is so we can fix all this. Fold this over, and I keep thinking we should be able to tab that in, but I'm so wrong, and there is too much play in there in the legs. But this is supposed to fold over and then fold under. So let's get this done. That's over. Slid down. Slide as far as it slides down. So we're going to do that. And keep trying to clean this guy up as we go. This wheel here comes down. We connect the this little port to this hole, like, I guess like that. There we go. Same thing on the other side. Bring this wheel down. Connect this port all the way to the hole, like so. And we're getting really close. A little bit of cleaning up is still going to need to go on, like this piece here, and I'm not sure why those aren't tabbed together as well. So just some stuff to clean this guy up, and then we're going to take a look at him. I can't figure out why this should be tabbed and held together, but it's not, and I don't know why. But overall, I mean, we get the whole look. We're gonna have a look at it here in just a second. Quick finishing touches here. You do have to fold these wheels down, and these wheels, this wheel here, down also. This front piece needs to come down and form the front of the choo-choo, and I still couldn't get that tabbed in all the way. I'm right here, there's a notch and a tab, and that, it's like there's lots of tabs and they're right, but it's just not holding together just right for me. Okay, so here's the train mode, and it was a lot of work to get here, and I don't know if it was worth it, but it's a good mode. It looks pretty good. I don't know why I can't seem to get everything tabbed in 100%. It's just, well, it's an old mold. But it doesn't look bad. I mean, it kind of looks exactly like I saw in the pictures. It does have a lot of detail in it. There's quite a bit of paint. It is the extra painted version. Looks pretty good. I do kind of like the touch with, like, even the front end looks really good. You could have this at the front of your trains. I wonder how this will stack up to the Moon Studio or the old Zeta version of the train bots. See, I couldn't get the tab to tab in, so there's something going on in there. But anyway, it does look pretty good. Let's do a quick comparison to a couple of things. Here it is next to a G1 version, and you can kind of see how it really is true to the G1, and it's got a lot of similarities to it, and it's one of those things that I kind of like about it. I do like that it's purple. I like that it's got the color right. I think this is, out of compared to the Toy World ones, you're not going to get the right coloring on it. This works. I mean, it hides the engines, which is kind of good. There it is. Here he is compared to a Hot Rod, and Hot Rod, you know, he's not going to be as big of a train, but that actually doesn't really match scale-wise either. You can see right here, there's kind of some screw holes. These fillers in this bag go to that, but my understanding is the fillers are just going to fall right back out anyway, so it's kind of a waste of time. I do want to show you the weapon storage in this guy real quick. You can tab the guns into here if your whole thing doesn't come on tab, and there it is. Weapon storage gets the job done. That wheel keeps folding down. So one feature on this that they really wanted to go out of their way to do was this whole choo-choo train kind of thing. Now, it's not going to really roll because you got these wheels, so you'd kind of have to pop these other wheels up. Well, this wheel here needs to tab into that, so that's kind of one of my issues. This tab piece needs to go into there, so I didn't do that. But anyway, it's really not going to roll unless on my hard surface here. But it is kind of a cool idea that it kind of looks like a real choo-choo train. I kind of like that they went out of their way to do that, but it causes a lot more issues than it helps. So this has been the Zeta EX-10 Spacetron Metallic Edition version of Astrotrain. It's the same thing as the Toy World one. It's a 5.5-year-old mold. It's very dated. It's one that is available right now though for 75 bucks. So if you really want an Astrotrain and you missed out on the Fans Toys, this is definitely an option for you. Let me know what you think about this guy. Let me know if you love it or hate it. I know a lot of reviewers hated it. I understand what they don't like about it, but I don't think it's complete and total garbage like they're trying to say. It's okay. Like, subscribe for Deer Hanger out.
And there's no engineer. So who needs you spineless plasm heads anyway? Astrotrain can fix that. Soon you'll have the latest in computer controls. These are my troops, but even soldiers need brains. Will obey Astrotrain and scavenge the energy for his empire. Process the energy in your cars. That's it. Faster.